On November 1st, 1858, Allahabad was alive with anticipation, a day that would reshape India. British and Indian soldiers stood side by side, their uniforms a symbol of a new alliance.
We stood together, British and Indian, a new force for a new era.
It felt like history was shifting beneath our feet.
The Union Jack dominated the scene while the East India Company's flag was being lowered for the last time.
The crowd was a mix of hope, worry, and curiosity. British officials, Indian princes, and common people all watching.
Some saw the Queen's rule as a promise of justice, others feared for their future. The ceremony was a display of power, cannons ready, horses gleaming, bands playing. This was more than a change of rulers. It was a performance meant to declare a new age. The era of merchant rule was ending. Now a distant queen would rule India directly.
We wondered what this new chapter would bring for our land and our lives.
The air was thick with unspoken questions as India stood on the edge of transformation. The old order was ending, and a new one was being born. The world watched as history turned a page. The time of the company was over. The age of the crown had begun. At the center stood Lord Charles Canning, the last Governor-General of the East India Company. Today, he would become the first Viceroy of India, the Queen's direct representative.
The rebellion of 1857 changed everything. Some call me Clemency Canning for my mercy, but I believe peace needs justice, not vengeance.
Canning was the bridge between the old and the new. He held the Queen's proclamation, the document that would reshape India's future.
I feel the weight of this moment. All eyes are on me as I close the company's chapter and open the Queen's.
The crowd fell silent as the moment arrived. Canning nodded to the official, signaling the start of a new era. The transfer of power was about to become real.
I am the man who will officially close the book on the East India Company's long and often troubled history.
The next chapter of India's story was about to be written. The Queen's words would echo across the subcontinent. The future of British India rested on this moment. The ceremony was more than ritual. It was the birth of the British Raj. The world was watching. India's fate was being decided in Allahabad. The official unrolled the scroll and read Queen Victoria's words to the silent crowd.
We, Victoria, Queen of the United Kingdom, declare our rule over India.
The proclamation promised to respect the rights and honor of Indian princes.
We shall respect the rights, dignity, and honor of native princes as our own.
It offered religious freedom and equal treatment under the law.
None shall be favored or persecuted for their faith.
The Queen promised government jobs based on merit, not race. Rebels, except those guilty of murder, were offered pardon, a gesture of clemency. The words were both a declaration of power and a promise of justice. As the last words echoed, a cannon fired, sealing the new order.
An American journalist wiped his brow, turning to his companion. Quite a show, Charlie. One master replaced by another.
Charlie replied, "Maybe, but a government has duties. Promises matter even if they are just words."
Words are easy. Let's see what changes.
It's a start. Justice, jobs, respect for religion. If they keep their word, it could mean something.
Or it could be more of the same. A young British officer joined in. This is about duty. The company failed. Now the Queen brings order and civilization. A noble purpose, huh? We'll see how much light comes with all these soldiers.
Their debate captured the uncertainty of the day, hope, skepticism, and imperial confidence clashing in the crowd.
Time will tell if this is progress or just a new kind of rule.
The officer looked away as another cannon blast echoed.
The crowd began to move, each person carrying their own hopes and doubts. The ceremony was over, but the questions lingered. 3 men, 3 perspectives, each reflecting the complexity of this historic day. The world was watching, and so was India. The promises made would shape the future. The struggle between old and new had only just begun. The day's meaning would be debated for generations. The story of India was far from over. The ceremony was a carefully staged performance, every act a symbol of transformation. The East India Company's flag was lowered, ending an era. The royal standard of Queen Victoria rose, marking her as India's new sovereign. British and Indian soldiers stood together, a deliberate show of unity after the rebellion. The new army, under the crown, was meant to symbolize trust and a shared future. The proclamation was read aloud, connecting the new rule to ancient traditions of royal decree. Lord Canning embodied the transition, Governor-General in the morning, Viceroy by afternoon. His presence promised continuity and order, not chaos. The ceremony suggested a peaceful shift, not another violent upheaval. The British hoped to build a stable, prosperous India under their control. The world saw a new power rising. The old order had ended. A new symbol now flew over India. As the crowds dispersed, the Government of India Act of 1858 took effect. The East India Company was gone. Its power, armies, and lands now belonged to the British Crown. This was more than a name change. It was a new way of ruling India. For some Indians, the Queen's promises brought hope of justice and security. For others, skepticism lingered. Was this just a new mask for old exploitation? The memory of rebellion was fresh. Trust would not come easily. For the British, this was the dawn of the Raj, India, the jewel in the crown. Governing India meant building railways, telegraphs, and a vast bureaucracy. The British saw themselves as civilizers, but also as empire builders. The transfer of power set the course for the next 90 years. The Viceroy ruled in the Queen's name, backed by the Indian civil service. The promises of equality planted seeds for future independence movements. The struggle between imperial control and Indian self-rule had begun. The new era would be defined by both hope and resistance. The ceremony in Allahabad marked the end of the East India Company's private empire. For over 2 centuries, the company had acted as a nation. Now, its time was over. The British Raj was born from the company's failure. Power shifted to London. India's fate would be decided in Parliament. India became a colony, its people subjects of the British Queen. This brought changes in law, education, and technology, but also deeper control. The new era was one of both progress and subjugation. The promises of 1858 would inspire future Indian nationalists. The ceremony was not an end, but the start of a long, complex struggle. A company's empire died, a queen's empire was born. The journey toward India's independence had begun. The world had changed forever on that November day. The story of India and Britain was entering its most dramatic chapter yet.